2016 sucked! I don't think I'm breaking any news when I say that, but my gosh, it needs saying, because 2016 was an awful year. Not necessarily for me personally in my life, but for the world in general. All these stars that died, all of the bad stuff that happened, like Brexit. Britain leaves the European Union because they say, I'm bored, what else am I going to do? We got Trump being elected because apparently all of America is high. And oh my gosh, everything went wrong this year. I mean, let's change that graphic. It's too pleasant. Let's change it to something, ugly and disturbing. No, not that ugly or disturbing. There we go. Now, I'm not too happy about this list, mostly because I wasn't really happy about a lot of the movies that came out this year. Honestly, my number 1 on this list might not even have made it to number 5 on last year's list because of how good last year and how amazing 2014 was in terms of film quality. Those years we had game changers. We had a Boyhood and Whiplash and Birdman, and I guess a lot of those were 2014. But we had a lot of good movies. 2016, on the other hand, let's just say a lot of these movies that I'm going to be talking about for the top 10 best movies of the year, there are some movies that I didn't get to see that might be considered one of the best movies of the year. Fences, didn't get to see that yet. It didn't come to my theater. Hidden Figures, I didn't see that. I want to. It's going to be coming to my theaters later, but it's going to be a week or so before. It's going to be after 2016 before I actually see it. What else? Kobo and the Two Strings, never saw that one. I hear it's pretty good. I still plan to review it someday, but I need to get it on DVD, and I'm kind of broke right now. But in the end, enough with the grandstanding. There are movies I liked this year, just not a lot that I loved. And so let's get this out of the way and cross our fingers. If I was, I believe in God, so I don't believe in luck. But you can do it if you believe in luck. Cross your fingers for 2017 to be a better year, because this is the top 10 best movies of 2016. Number 10, The Magnificent Seven. It's weird. I gave this movie just a 6 out of 10 when I reviewed it. I might boost that up to a 7 just because I saw it again with my family because they hadn't seen it. That was a movie that they all agreed on, so I just went along with it. And I enjoyed it more. It's always interesting because I find that you just enjoy movies more when you're seeing them with other people. And I just love watching things with other people, watching their reaction to it. Why I like react videos, I guess. Anyways, The Magnificent Seven isn't a great movie in terms of story quality, but it's a lot of fun. I love Chris Pratt. I like Denzel Washington. I like a lot of these actors and a lot of these characters. And even though it's maybe stock and maybe predictable and maybe barely by the numbers in terms of a Western, you know what? It's been a while since I had a normal, fun, hokey Western. And it had a lot of great scenes, a lot of great fun action. And Magnificent Seven isn't a movie that I'm probably going to, see a ton or watch over and over and over again. But you know what? If one of these days I'm just going through and I don't know what to see and I see it on Netflix, I'm like, I might check that out again. Because for overall, even though I don't think it's an amazing movie, my overall mood leaving the film is a positive one. And that's why it gets the number 10 spot. Number 9. The Jungle Book. This one I really enjoyed, mostly because of the fact that I had before I reviewed this movie, I reviewed the animated classic, and there was a lot of stuff that I didn't like or I thought they could improve on in a modern retelling, and for almost everything that I said they could improve on, they improved on it. They gave Shere Khan some more screen time. They gave Mowgli clear motivations on why he wants to stay in the jungle, but they also don't just brush off the fact that he knows that there's a giant killer tiger after him. He knows it and treats it seriously, but he's also having his own hopes and dreams, and they conflict with one another. I really don't get the hate that some people have for this film. I mean, I saw that the Nostalgia Critic and his brother, Doug and Rob Walker, both of them hated this movie, and I don't really see why. The only thing that I can say about this movie is bad is the King Louie part, because I can hear Christopher Walken behind the microphone the whole time. You know, I'm not seeing a character. I'm seeing Christopher Walken doing an impression, and that song was just totally jarring. Oh, me do. I'm gonna be like you. I'm gonna walk like you. Talk like you. Because talking like this is very strange. But the rest of the cast I liked. I liked the kid who did Mowgli. I like Bill Murray as Baloo. He did a role where it actually sounded like he gave a crap. I liked Ben Kingsley as Bagheera. I liked all of the characters, and I really liked Idris Elba as Shere Khan. I wasn't planning on putting this movie on my list, but when I looked at all the sparse ones, it was the movie that I could look at and I saw, you know what? I enjoyed myself with this movie. Will I get it on DVD? Maybe. I think I might as soon as I have enough money to spare, you know? Like, I'm at the point where if I just can only spend this much, I'm not spending it on the Jungle Book. But if I have some extra money, I might pick it up. Yeah, we're just sound enthusiastic about our picks, but don't worry. From here on out, these are movies that I thought, for the most part, were going to make it on the list. Number 8. Zootopia. I think I was a little bit too hard on this one when I did my quick review on it. I think that looking back at it again, I think it's a better film than I gave it credit for. I still think the problem it still has the problems that I said. Like, my complaints of the movie still hold. I still have them, but I don't think they're as big a deals as I made them out to be. You know, the film is still much a message piece about racism and sexism. It still is that, and that takes center stage, and I think the film gets lost in its message a little bit, but I don't think it's as big a deal as I made it out to be when I first reviewed it. I think that overall I enjoyed myself when watching this because I thought that it was fun. You know, it was a lot of fun, and the characters were a lot of fun. I really thought they were really likable. Was the story predictable? Yes. Was the characters still taken seriously, though? Yes. Was there anything that caught me off surprise? No. But overall, I still enjoyed the movie. I mean, enough that I bought it on Blu-ray and I didn't regret the decision, and I liked it. I like to see it. I like to share it with my other family. However, I'm just going to say right now, I don't think Zootopia should win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. I have a feeling it's got a really good chance to do it, though, but it's not, in my mind, the best animated movie that's come out this year, and we'll get to that later on. But for right now, I think Zootopia is thumbs up. Good job, Disney. I think it's a very important piece, and you guys did a great job making this message that is a very important one, and one that I'm glad that you made it very applicable to kids, and heck, maybe this will give adults some kick in the pants, too. So, good job. Number 7. Hacksaw Ridge. The thing with Hacksaw Ridge is that it's a really unique story in terms of war, you know? It's not a movie that revels in the war. I mean, it shows how dirty everything is, and how awful everything is, and how gory everything is, and it doesn't hold anything back because it's Mel Gibson, and when has Mel Gibson ever held back with anything? But we got Andrew Garfield as this guy who doesn't want to pick up a gun, and he wants to be in the war and help people as a medic, and then just his remarkable tale. And it's really quite interesting, and it's a good step back. I would say that if you don't like war movies, or that's just not your type of thing, or you're put off by that, then maybe Hacksaw Ridge isn't for you. But I think it hits the right spot for me. It hits all the points that a war movie should. Is it inspiring? Yes. Is the main character good and relatable? Yes. Does it tell its story uniquely that separates it from other war movies? Yes. And last of all, was this a story that needed to be told? Yes. And those are the things that I think when it comes to why you should tell this story with a war movie, I think those are the things you need to fill out, and it checks all of them off, and you know what, probably checks off a couple of other things that it did right too. I liked Hacksaw Ridge a lot. If you haven't seen it yet, well, you're going to have to wait till it comes out on DVD, or go to one of those bargain bin theaters. Number 6. Finding Dory. Like I said in my review of this, I was really against Finding Nemo getting a sequel. I thought that was the one Pixar movie, besides maybe Up, that was made to not have a sequel. Like, I think Up is the only one besides that that is made that you can't make another one of these. This is only a one-time thing. This isn't a franchise. And of course, like everybody, part of me just said, why are we making Finding Nemo 2 and not The Incredibles 2? However, I like what they did with Finding Dory, because the reason I was against it is because I always say how you can't take a comic relief and just put them in the main character role and have it work. It doesn't work. This is why I don't think the Minion movie, I haven't seen it, but that's why I didn't see the Minion movies, because they're just stupid comic relief, and you can't, and just stupid to begin with, and you can't make them just the main characters by just switching them to the main characters. It doesn't work that way. Why I don't see the Penguins, a Madagascar movie where it was just the Penguins, or even in Cars 2 was probably until this movie the best handled of making the comic relief character the main character, but even then it still wasn't great because it's just such a jarring change, and it's a role that character wasn't designed to fit in. But they do a good job by using Dory's disability to tell a story. You know, she has something that she struggles with, and they're usually using that to relate to other people, to say, hey, whatever problems you have, whether you have a disability or a condition or an allergy or whatever it is, you can work through it and be a full human. You know, you're not just limited to your condition. You are a human being and you can do stuff. You're not just worthless. You can be whoever you want to be if you just work hard enough at it. And I think that's a great message, and it's one that you can't really tell with too many other stories in animated form. And I think they use it beautifully with Finding Nemo's characters and making Dory the main character, and a character who we follow but also, sympathize with because of her condition, and to see her come triumphant on the other end, I think is a great thing. The most disappointing movie of the year is Ghostbusters! Answer the Call! Oh boy, this movie sucked. You might be surprised that I didn't put this as the worst movie of the year, and I was close. Something came out that saved its butt in terms of a worse movie, but it's in terms of disappointments. Not that I was looking for a lot going into it, but it's just, this was the biggest disappointment of the year on how much they screwed the pooch, okay? How much they screwed up Ghostbusters. I still don't care what anybody thinks. Ghostbusters Answer the Call is a crappy movie, is a crappy retelling of the story with awful, awful jokes about vagina farting, and absolutely everybody's yelling all the time, and then the bad guy's just some dweeb in his basement making these ghost things that nobody ever explains how he does it, and then they shoot the ghost in the crotch because apparently ghosts can still feel their balls even though they've turned into a giant metamorphic Ghostbusters symbol. My gosh, was this movie stupid. Everything about this movie was awful. The cameos were awful. The characters were awful. And most importantly, they just weren't Ghostbusters. That's the thing. It wasn't Ghostbusters. It wasn't a Ghostbusters story. It wasn't a Ghostbusters movie. It just wasn't Ghostbusters at all. It didn't have the tone right. It didn't have the characters right. It didn't have anything right. Except for, I guess, the science fiction gadgetry. That looked good. But the effects looked cheesy like they were from Scooby-Doo 2. And it was just... all of it was bad. I hate this movie. I hate it with a passion, and it was the biggest disappointment of the year. Number 5. Deadpool. He's gonna give it to you. He's gonna give it to you. He's gonna give it to you. Anyway, Deadpool. Great movie. Okay, look, this list is personal opinions. This can only really be personal opinions, but I enjoyed Deadpool a lot. And I know I'm biased because I like the character. But I know I'm not the only one. Ryan Reynolds was waiting so long to bring this character to life, and he finally was able to bring it to life in the way that we have all wanted to see. I personally don't like swearing and nudity. And sure, they did that to the extreme. But I was able to look past that because there was a lot of other funny stuff in here. Deadpool was the character I wanted him to be. He's a little rude, he's a little quippy, he's a little jerky, he's a little bit of a douchebag, he's a little bit of everything. He's Canadian, so I love that. I mean, when there's just that scene where he's laughing his head off as he says, You're gonna be killed by a Zamboni! And he's just laughing his head off. You can't help but not smile at that. That is just hilarious and, even funny if you're Canadian, I think. I'm a little worried for what we get in the next one because from what I hear, the director has left, and that could mean that it's going downhill, or whoever they get to replace him could do just as good a job, or even better. You never know. But I'm still looking forward to see what they bring with this character. I think as long as Ryan Reynolds is there and bringing his random, quippy Deadpool nature to the role, I still think even if it's a bad movie, it's still going to be entertaining. So Deadpool goes to number 5. Number 4. Rogue One. I find this ironic because I think my last top 10 list had Force Awakens at number 4 too. But anyway, Rogue One was almost everything I wanted to see for Star Wars, really. I think in the end, I think that what holds it back a little bit for me is the characters. We got they're not that they're bad, it's just they're like the side characters I think are more interesting, and then the main characters a little bit by the numbers. I think though overall, it's a great thing. It's a love letter to Star Wars. You go back and you feel like you're in the old Star Wars. Now, of course, not 100%, but that's mostly because the special effects have been updated to look better. And we don't really feel that with the old Star Wars. That the special effects are a little bit lacking in that. But in the end, I think that the film itself is great because now nobody can make the joke. Okay? Nobody can make the joke that, how can just shooting a couple of full-time torpedoes into the... Oh, I shouldn't be doing that. But how can shooting a couple of torpedoes in this little hole blow up the whole station? We can't make the joke anymore. It's no longer a plot hole. It's like the people were just like, you know what? Now that we have control of this franchise, let's just make an entire movie to fix that one plot hole that people keep on bringing up. Well, yeah, but it doesn't fix why they were able to fly in and destroy the second Death Star. Look, that one was under construction. There was still room to fly in, and all they had to do was get some blast to the core. It wasn't like they still shot it through the hole or anything like that. It was under construction. It wasn't done yet, and that was used to lure the rebels in. So it's fine. It's all good. It's all good. But beyond that, there was just a lot of stuff that I really enjoyed about this. K2, the droid, I love. As I said, he's my new favorite droid of Star Wars because he was funny. He was hilarious, my gosh darn it. And he was actually able to kick some butt, unlike any of the other droids. Okay, R2 did in the prequels, but those were dumb. And I like that this movie added more diversity into the cast of Star Wars. Sure, the last movie had one black guy. Whoa, call the presses. Well, they did because they're like, a black guy can't be a stormtrooper, and those people are idiots. Now, but I like that they added a lot more diversity. We got, 2 Asian guys, a Mexican, and a Muslim? And another woman as the lead, and I think that's good because... Honestly, it's a movie where it's about people. The people that are getting affected by this war and doing their part to see it come to an end and giving everything they got to it. And overall, I think that's great. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a lot of fun. Overall, thumbs up on that. Number 3. Kung Fu Panda 3. If you had told me like 3 or 4 years ago that a Jack Black movie would make my top 10 list, not only list, but be number 3, I'd say, is it one of the Kung Fu Panda movies? Because I had seen it at that point. But if you did 10 years ago that a Jack Black movie would make my top 10 list, I wouldn't believe you. But here it is. Kung Fu Panda 3 is, in my mind, the best animated movie that came out this year. Why? Because it's not necessarily the most inspiring message ever. It's not necessarily the most beautifully animated movie this year, but it's just the best paced and written and relatable. I relate to all of these characters. I think it's a lot of fun. The music is so good that I keep on listening to Kai's theme song. Dun da da da, dun da da da, dun da 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 dun da da da. As all the humor that you want from the Kung Fu Panda series, and they do it this every time. I'm worried. when I see these trailers. And every time they do the same thing. They make the stupidest trailers you could ever imagine, and then make one of the nicest animated movies you'll ever see. I still think Kung Fu Panda 2 is better, but honestly, we're pulling hairs here, you know? It's little things, little differences, and it's just great characters, great atmosphere, great animation, great everything, and I think that this movie is a lot of fun, and it was an earlier one of the year, and honestly, I don't think any of the other animated movies topped it, and I think only 2 other movies topped it this year in terms of my favorites, so Kung Fu Panda 3 is number 3. Go figure. Number 2, Captain America Civil War. You know, it's kind of funny when you look at this movie because it's just like, you look at this movie and then you read the comic Civil War 2 that's out and you're like, wow, this is filled with BS. None of this makes sense. All the characters are acting out of character and it's a little stupid, isn't it? And then you watch this movie and, you know, for the most part, everyone's acting in character. They're doing things the way they normally would do, and they're being pushed to their limits in ways that are natural. As I said, in my review, the only one that feels out of place is Ant-Man, because I'm like, wait, you just got out of prison, and then you just got your thing everyone thinking you were Ant-Man. You just got that covered up. And so now you're just going to go to jail for Captain America? What the heck is that with that, Scott? But beyond that, the only thing I can really say about Captain America Civil War that sucks is the villain. The villain is he's minuscule, he doesn't have that much to do, he's not that interesting, and his whole ending is so anticlimactic. But the main focus, being Iron Man versus Captain America, is handled great. I love these characters. I like they're at odds with each other, and they go to their naturally in a natural state. And I like how when they're fighting each other, they don't want to actually hurt each other, but it just keeps on amping up, and more and more and more. I still think I like Winter Soldier more, because I think that the story is just better told and better paced and everything. This feels like it's just affecting the superheroes, where Winter Soldier felt like it would affect the whole world if Captain America didn't stop it. So in that case, I feel like the stakes are higher, but I like this movie a lot, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. So, Captain America Civil War. Chris Evans was born to play Steve Rogers, and you know what? It's going to be a sad day when he retires, and when all these guys retire from their roles, and I think that in the end, I liked him as Captain America, and I actually am really excited where the Marvel Universe goes next, because in my mind, they've been on fire since Iron Man 3. After Iron Man 3 came out, I don't think they've made a bad movie yet, because I didn't like Iron Man 3, if you don't know. But I like this movie quite a bit, and that's why it's number 2 on my list. And the number 1 movie of the year is... Oh wait, we gotta do this. And the number 1 worst movie of 2016 is... Independence Day Resurgence. You know what? Even though I think this is a worse movie than Ghostbusters, I kind of enjoyed it more because of how stupid it is. This is like... Ghostbusters is... a painful bad, where this is an enjoyably bad, but it's obviously made so much worse. There's like, as I said, like 20, if not like 30 characters or things that you didn't need in this movie that should have been cut. They took Jeff Goldblum's father's character and kept him in the movie, even though his character had no place in the movie. They're just like, oh wait, you were in the original and you want to be in this one? Sold, you're in. We'll write a role for you. You'll get in a bus with a bunch of kids and contribute nothing to the story. Okay, sounds good. Everything about this movie was awful. The logic doesn't make sense. The aliens want to harvest our core, but they have this ginormous ship that's half the size of the planet. And all they do is just park it, and by parking the ship, they kill like millions, if not billions of people. And I'm just thinking, why don't you just drive that ship around the Earth a few times, because you have your own gravitational pull, destroy the Earth, and then you'll have no military to go up against. I mean, who's behind battle tactics in this stupid thing? Everything about this movie is stupid. There's a love triangle or something going on here that's stupid. There's a guy that likes this Asian chick for some reason, I guess because she's hot, and it's stupid. There's, Liam Hemsworth is in this movie, and he's stupid. We got Jeff Goldblum in this movie, and it's stupid. Everything about this movie is stupid, and I don't know if it's like, you might be saying, why isn't Ghostbusters higher because you're smiling when you're talking about Independence Day Resurgence and you were angry when you were talking about Ghostbusters. It's because I don't care. I don't care about Independence Day. I care about Ghostbusters. But Independence Day was a crappy movie to begin with. I only enjoy the original Independence Day because of pure nostalgia. I don't think it's a good movie, and I don't think anybody does really anymore. And if you do, well, you just don't like movies that much. Anyway, I just think that it's such a bad film, and overall, you gotta look at it and say, one of the worst movies of the year because of how stupid it was. So, that's what I have to say. Alright, on to the number one movie of the year. And the number one best movie of this horrible year, 2016, is Arrival. Now, Arrival is an interesting one for me to talk about because I didn't get a chance to review it, mostly because by the time it hit my theater, it had already been out of everybody else's theater. Like, my brother literally had to call and make a request to my theater to air it, and by that time we finally saw... Let me just put it this way. When we saw Hacksaw Ridge, we were going to see Arrival, but it wasn't in theaters. So anyway, I never got a chance to review it, but Arrival is interesting because while I don't even know if I will be buying Arrival on, like, DVD... or anything like that. You know, I don't even know if I will ever even see it again. The reason I have it as number one is because, unlike every other stinking movie this year, Arrival is the only one that gave me a holy crap moment. You know, where I was literally shocked and surprised by something. That everything else this year, predictable. I called it, you know... Captain America Civil War. I called that it was Bucky that killed Tony Stark's parents. I called that in the very first scene. In Kung Fu Panda, the story more or less ended up where I thought it was going to go. Rogue One, same thing. It's a very typical story. If you look at it just being a war movie, you know where it's going to go. Especially since you've seen A New Hope and you know where it's going to go. Everything else on this list are movies that I just either felt like I knew where they were going or just didn't wow me in the way that needed to influence me. And Arrival was the only one where I'm like, oh my gosh, holy crap, that was smart. Did not see that coming. For those who don't know, Amy Adams plays this translator who gets hired by the military because we got this 12 random egg-like things that just fall out of the sky and just land above the earth, and then every now and then a door will open up, allowing people to come in and view these aliens through this screen. And she has to try to find a way to communicate with them. And the longer they're there, the more hostilities go with the other countries. Some countries want to attack them. Some want to make sure they hold out. And then some people are keeping the information the aliens give to themselves because they want to see if it's any tactical advantage. And it's a whole thing. And she's just trying to understand these aliens and their language. And the more and more you see it, it's like a magician. It's holding it right in front of you. And you don't even realize it till... They flip it, and there it is, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so smart! Oh, that's so cool! As I say, is Arrival a movie I'm going to need to see over and over and over again? Maybe not. I'll probably see, you know, Rogue One, Civil War, and Kung Fu Panda, Deadpool, and Finding Dory, Zootopia, a lot of these more than I will Arrival ever again. But Arrival was the only one that ever had a moment that actually shocked me and actually made me feel really good about how good the storytelling was and how good everything was set up. And in that case, that more than enough earns it as the best film of 2016. Thank you for watching, everybody, guys. I'm praying for 2017. Because if it's anything like this year, well, we just won't have any celebrities left. See you around. Be sure to check out more of my other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.